So we are back once again for another after show from this week's famous last words. And this one is one of my favorites, the amazing Isadora Duncan.
Why is it one of your favorites?
I just think, well, one, I find her fascinating.
Okay,
And
fair.
two, I just think there's something about her story is very tragic, as many of them are, but
Right.
she also did a lot of really incredible things. And um, also, I think her last words are very fitting and could either have been said with joy or said with anticipation that she knew something was going to happen. And I like to think that there's a possibility of both.
So there is a rumor or a story that that might not have been her last words.
Well, now we got to do a whole new
Well, no,
show.
no,
What the
but wait.
hell?
Well, here's the thing. Everyone takes it that is what it is. That is what and I can't remember her friend's name, Presta Sturgis's mom, which is the wrong
Yes,
way to refer to her, but
I know, but
that's all I got.
yes.
Um Supposedly, and I don't know how much of this is conjecture and how much of this is fact, supposedly, because they were the only two people there to witness it,
Right.
supposedly
How many times are
Isadora
you going to
Duncan,
say supposedly?
allegedly, Isadora Duncan said something to her friend. She did say, "Farewell, my friends, I'm off to glory." It was
Okay.
one of her last words, but
Okay.
she might have also said something or phrased something or included a look that uh, communicated to Preston Sturgis and his mother that she was going to go hook up with the driver of the car.
Oh, well, I like that, but
Right. Like it's either way you slice the
well, and is that
pie.
her off to glory?
I don't know. I didn't see a picture of the
But
driver.
see, that also means like a whole, like that also adds to, again, either it was fun, something very fun and
Yeah.
jovial, or she had some anticipation that this was it. And I don't know why. I just like to kind of think that either could be true. I
Well, and
just think they're
she's
fitting and I think I don't know, I think they're good ones.
they are, and it's interesting because I went and found a few other tragic ballerinas because I feel like
There are
this
a lot
episode
of
is
them.
nothing but tragic dancers.
Yes.
Um, because like she was so good at one thing and so much of the rest of her life didn't work out the right way.
I know. And she tried a lot of different ways to make it work. And
Like just begging a dude to impregnate you just doesn't,
I know
it's
it's
just
not
like
sexy.
you're begging for love in
I
so many
know.
ways, and
And
it's
I
very,
feel
very
like she
sad and
didn't
tragic.
need to, well, she didn't
No,
need to beg for a romp, I'm sure.
no, right.
But it's just not, you know, what was she going to do with all those kids?
Well, and then the posse that she adopted of
I
her
know. Why am
acolytes.
I blank? I literally just listened to this again this morning and I blanked on the name of what they were
The
called.
Isadorables.
Isadorables, thank you, which is a great name, by the
Great
way.
name.
I mean, that
Great name.
trumps Swifties, that trumps
Oh yeah.
so
Parrot
many.
heads, dead heads.
Yes,
Yeah.
yes. I
Any of the
love it.
heads.
Any
Yeah.
of the heads.
Yeah, Dylan fans are apparently called Bobcats, which I cannot stand.
No, that's
I think
terrible.
is the dumbest.
No, that's not.
Um,
No,
but Isadorables is number one with a bullet.
it's, I mean, fantastic. But yeah, that was terrible too, because then she adopts them and then they turn on her
They go and screw
allegedly.
her. Right.
Right.
It's there's something tragic about so many dancers and ballerinas. And I think part of it is the thing with actors. Um, that a few times I've sat in on auditions for commercials and stuff. And like when I was doing student films, it was a different thing. But like
Yeah,
for commercials, there's something that feels so incredibly sad about the whole process
of course.
because these actors leave the room and then you hear what the people casting the thing say, and it is absolutely nothing about their performance.
Right.
It is all about how do they look, how would they play opposite this person, and if I as an actor knew all of the reasons I didn't get a job because of the
Right.
number of things that you have zero control over, I would be devastated. And so in that regard, it sort of makes sense that some of these people, and dancing the same thing if not worse,
Right.
if a
Well,
chorus line taught us nothing,
I mean,
it is
it
that
taught us a
dance is worth it.
lot.
It did, yes. Dance tens
Looks
plus three.
three,
Yeah, but
but everything is beautiful at the ballet.
this is true, but I remember my mother combing my hair. What was it? Trying to get out of the
Yeah.
car.
Yes.
Anyway, hopefully people are
Dance for
yelling out there.
grandma, dance for grandma. It really has great lyrics. I mean, I have
Yes,
some PTSD from that soundtrack from over in my family.
you don't
Um,
say.
yeah, but
Hmm.
but it is really it's a great show and great soundtrack.
Have did you see the documentary?
I haven't watched the documentary. I need to.
I'm saying it's amazing, not just because a friend of mine edited it, but it is so good.
Okay, I'll watch
And
it.
the way
That'll be
it
my
does
input tonight.
the parallel story of Michael Bennett and the writing of it and all of that,
Mm-hmm.
then with the uh revival cast, and it's wonderful.
Okay, I'll check it out. It's a singular sensation.
This is what I've been told.
I know. But also I feel, to go back to the dancers and themselves, ballet, much like opera, it's a pretty downer art form.
It
So
really
if you
is.
already have a lot of your own depression or sadness or melancholy, it's going to accentuate it,
Yes, very much so.
even when you're super successful.
Yeah.
And Isadora is interesting. She's been popping up everywhere to me lately. Like when I was in New York in May, she was her dress and
Hmm.
shoes are at the New York Public Library and that beautiful little museum they have there.
Hmm.
And then she was featured as one of the first divas in the diva exhibit.
I think that works.
It does, it works, but she's significant.
Yes. And it's interesting for dancers and choreographers. I don't know how many female choreographers there were at that time.
Mm-hmm.
Like now it's pretty much accepted that like a good number of the best choreographers in the world are women.
Of course.
Uh I get the feeling not so much then.
Yeah, not so much that.
Mm.
And I also like that she pushed the envelope with what dance was and
Mm-hmm.
mixed it up.
The more
So,
modernistic.
right. So that's why I like hers. I just think she's a very interesting, multi-layered person that I think a lot of people are familiar with, but
Yes.
don't know anything about.
Yes. And so I found I'm going to say 2.5 because I found this story, just the headline made me be like, this is interesting. It's apparently was a documentary on CNN, but the headline is She Danced for Dr. Mangala. Now, come on.
I mean,
Uh, a 16-year-old ballerina who celebrated her 17th birthday in Auschwitz. So,
oh,
but she's still alive, or was when this film came out, which is
wow.
impressive. 2015, she was 80, 87.
Oh, she
Could very, very possible.
I mean, a lot of I do feel if you survive Auschwitz, you live a long time
Well,
as a
you gotta,
general rule.
yeah, your body and you have learned a few
You
things,
know, you know how
whether or
to
not you
survive.
wanted to. Yes.
Right.
So, but she, yeah, was brought by Dr. Mangala. I mean, all of this is terrible. But basically, I'm just going to skip all the incredibly sad and terrible parts. But apparently, he came to the barracks and decided he wanted to be entertained, which
As one
apparently you can do
does.
that if you're a monster.
Apparently, I
Yeah.
mean,
So she volunteered, uh,
interesting.
danced to the Blue Danube, um,
Mm-hmm.
and yeah, he gave her an extra ration of bread. So real
I mean,
caring
that's a
folk.
win.
Yeah. Um, but there's another World War II one that I guess we should talk about now because I'm so fascinated by this story. I believe it's pronounced Francesa Man,
Okay. Okay.
Polish, Jewish Polish ballerina. I think that's how you say it.
Yeah.
Her story gets a little complicated because she might have, free being sent to Auschwitz, turned in some other folks to not get so. But
Gotcha.
there's nothing
Right.
proven, but
We
there are
don't know. Yeah.
allegations. The reason I included it because there was one place that studied all of this stuff said so much of it was unclear that they were hard. It was hard. They were hard pressed to say definitively she conspired with the Nazis until they decided to stop.
Gotcha.
They also say this is unverified. Again, you want it to be true. So she was a Polish ballerina dancing in Warsaw, considered one of the most promising dancers of her generation in Poland in both classical and modern repertoire. So same eras as Isadora Duncan. So she was sent to Auschwitz October 23rd, 1943. And so they, like all the other, or a lot of the other slaves, I guess is the term we're using now.
Yeah.
We keep going over this, but
I know, but
we're told they needed to be disinfected. And she kind of got a gist of what might be going on. So instead of just undressing and getting ready to go in for the shower, she performed what is usually termed as a striptease, but undressed more salaciously.
Yes.
With the intention to get the guards' attention.
Of course.
And the story goes, once she was nude except for her high heels,
yes,
took one of her shoes and stabbed Walter Quackernack, who was a guard, in the face with her heel, causing him to drop his firearm.
That's amazing.
She then used it to shoot 2 other guards, one who later died from wounds, the other one had a permanent limp. She was eventually, shortly thereafter, murdered. But
understandably, but
when you go to that sort of Queens of Badassery,
yeah, that's right.
Nude in high heels with a machine gun is pretty, like, no notes.
That's pretty fantastic. And that needs to be conveyed somewhere in film.
Yes, I wish someone had written it into a TV pilot, for example.
Yes.
It'd be a great place for it.
It would be a great place for it.
But again, there's some question of all of it. But that's the best, like, terrible, tragic story. But there is like
this, go out swinging, basically.
Yeah, best served cold.
Oof.
The other one I found, less upbeat, is Emma Livery, Livry, who her photo, she kind of looks like an Edward Gorey character.
Oh, okay.
Good or bad, you decide. Depends on your thing. She was one of the last ballerinas of the romantic ballet era, and a protege of Marie Taglioni.
Okay. I love all these difficult names.
And I just keep walking right into it, being like, I need to tell you this. Like, if I didn't say Taglioni, you'd be like, wait, who was her instructor?
Right. I might, just to challenge you.
Yes. So she November 15th, 1864, was rehearsing the title role of Fenella, a mime in a opera I am not going to pronounce. Entering in the second act, shook out her skirts, which caught fire in the gaslight.
Jeez.
Yeah. So apparently there was a method of fireproofing costumes, but a lot of female dancers didn't do it because it stiffened the fabrics and discolored them. In flames, she ran across the stage 3 times before she was caught, and firemen and other folks extinguished her. Wikipedia.
This is horrible.
Her burns were more extensive than deep. She clasped the burning fabric to her torso out of modesty. Face and breasts undamaged, so
hey,
that goes in the good column.
Yeah.
Bad column: waist, thigh, back, shoulders, arms are burned.
That's not great for ballerina.
Yeah. So one of the her Taglioni, her mentor, rubbed makeup grease into the wounds, thinking it would act as an ointment.
Oh.
Yeah.
Yeah, it doesn't sound like a great idea.
So she lived for a few months, yet remained opposed to fireproof skirts.
Well, fashion over function. I do stand by that.
Well, she did say, Yes, they are, as you say, less dangerous. But should I ever return to the stage, I would never think of wearing them. They are so ugly.
See, I like this lady. That's kind of a little upbeat spin on it all.
Mm-hmm.
I
Uh,
agree.
in 1863, when was that? So that was, yeah, the next year. Moved out of Paris to a home someplace else. Her wounds reopened and she died.
Oh,
She was only 20 years old. She's buried in the cemetery in Montmartre.
huh? At least she
And
got a good place to end up.
yeah, and the surviving scraps of her costume are in the Opera Museum in Paris.
Wow.
So, with those good feelings in the air, this
Yeah.
holiday season for you
Why?
and yours,
Why did you ruin this one for me?
in and
It's the
probably what's the
season.
only time this sentence is going to be said, I thought I would end it on an up note with Auschwitz, and I just didn't work out that way.
It really didn't.
You really wish we were talking about Francesca Mann right now, don't
I
you?
kind of do,
Yeah.
but
Um,
it's okay.
but
All very interesting stories and
yes,
in
and
keeping with the theme.
yes, and I think I I do love the. I mean, you want to talk about um divas in ballet and artistry. You ain't flame proof in this. It ugly is pretty
It's fantastic. I mean, that
no
is
notes.
fantastic. I sort
Yeah.
of maybe we should have ended there, even though we knew she'd passed.
Right. Yes.
Our clothes maybe should have been there. We'll work on this
Yeah.
for
No.
our listeners.
By the time we get to season 4,
We'll be great.
we'll be perfect.
We will know the like that killer last line.
Right. So I guess if you listen to this and aren't familiar with ballet, it sounds like a pretty deadly art form.
Well, it kind of is. I mean, even just the brutality on their bodies, even if they don't have a tragic demise.
True, and we haven't even gotten to the dying swan.
I mean, the dying swan. But it's Nutcracker season. Nobody dies in the Nutcracker. So,
Really? Somebody must trip.
well, yeah, the Rat King. Do they kill the Rat King?
They might. Yeah,
They
something
might,
like
but
that.
it's a rat.
Yeah.
But it's
This
all
is what we
sugar
have for you.
plums and tin soldiers and
Dead rats.
dead rats.
Happy holidays to you and yours.
I mean, see, but we turned it
Yeah.
around.
So, I mean, when you've reached these highs, where do we go from here?
Where do we go from here?
I don't know. Do we go with our, is it Polish actress, I believe? We could do that one. We've got,
Okay.
I love that people are just listening to us debate things they have zero idea what we're talking about.
I know that's all of our shows, let's be honest.
Yeah. Maybe we save your favorite to end with that. Because like that's an upbeat, happy.
It is, but I also feel like the Polish actress might be a little too close to Isadora in some ways.
Okay. Well, we could go to Ludwig van.
Oh, well, but he's well, we got a lot of
Well, so we've got we've got 4 left.
yes.
Let me propose this one.
Okay.
Ludwig next week.
Yes.
Maybe is it Sika?
Yeah. It's a
her the following week. And then we could do CJ Walker and then Sally Bassett, or flip those two. Or do
either
we
one.
like kind of end on an up note of
Well, who's Christmas week? Is that the third one?
so we've got 4 left. I got to do the calendar. And so let's see. 1, 2, 3. So yeah, the 27th would be the last one. So
maybe we do I think either one. I think we're doing those either way are good.
yeah.
Because it's either leading up to Christmas or leading into a new year.
Right. And both of them are positive and
right. Right. I mean, there's still a lot of tragedy and heartbreak. It's not a laugh riot,
No,
But there's
but
also
you're not listening
very,
to the show for just like, I
no,
want to feel good.
you're not.
No.
But these do have a lot of optimism and a lot of badassery.
Inspiration, badassery.
Yeah.
Yes, I
Nobody's
live for it.
naked in high heels, but
No,
they're both good ones.
but we could
So
rewrite them and make that part of the
no,
thing.
we'll find some other. We could do a whole season of naked in high heels if you want to do your whole
That's
thematic season.
yeah, that would be
We're not doing a thematic season though. Don't worry.
no, that would be our other podcast.
Right.
Naked in high heels.
That's probably the story of
No,
my,
okay.
that's probably my autobiography.
So thank you for listening.
Yes,
We're sorry for
always.
bringing you down.
No, but we tried to bring you back
Always.
up.
We tried.
Go watch the Nutcracker. Go watch Chorus Line. Watch the Chorus Line documentary.
Watch every little step. And yeah, check out the Sylvester Stallone documentary.
And the Albert Brooks documentary.
Yeah. I haven't seen the one about him re-editing Rocky 4.
I haven't
It's supposed to be
either.
fascinating.
Probably is. I'll have to check that one out.
Because I think it's like self-shot or something. There's something weird about it where it's very indie. And yeah, go watch some ballet. Watch Black Swan. Because that's a feel-good movie.
That's totally a feel-good movie.
Gather the family around the hearth and home and watch Black
Yes.
Swan tonight.